All right, great. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nancy Larson. I want to thank you for joining us today. The purpose of our training today is to go through the, excuse me, it seems like I just lost my screen share, but Allison, can you confirm for me that you can see the website?
Yes, your screen share is still up.
Okay, super. That's always important when you're doing a training. All right, thanks everyone. We have asked you to please stay muted, and if you've got your camera on, please turn it off right now. We are going to be recording this training today, and I'm joined today along with my K-State teammates, Allison Crowther and Abby Kraus. So thank you so much, Allison and Abby, for your help. And please jump in if I forget something, but I will take a few pauses as we go through some basic features of the website and make sure that Abby and Allison don't have something else to add or that I haven't forgotten something. So thank you again for disabling your camera, or we will disable it for you, as well as your microphone. We will ask you to use the chat if you have a question, or you can raise your hand and we will unmute you for questions. We do have some time towards the end to open it up for some discussion or questions. But during this training, as I mentioned before, I'll periodically pause to allow my teammates, Allison and Abby, to add to this tour or take your questions. If you are what we call a newcomer, that's someone in their first or second year of working in the SBEAP program, we want to welcome you and let you know that this training and the associated resources you're going to see today are really designed with you in mind. And so we do definitely need your feedback. Your job is very important, and many of you may only have one or two people in your department to learn from, but know that you have the entire community of the national SBEAP and all the states who are here to assist you and help you. If you're looking for a tool or you are tasked with developing a new fact sheet, it is likely that one of us have it. We've already done that work and it's posted on this website, and you should ask for it so you do not have to reinvent the wheel, but rather just take our resource and make it fit your state. That's what all of this is about, is sharing resources. So especially you newcomers, please tune into that as we look at some of these sources. But first, I'd like to get started with a poll. This information, it helps us understand who's in the audience, which allows us to kind of shape this presentation to the audience's need. So Allison, can you please launch the first poll? So all of you should be able to see a poll that has 3 questions. After you answer question 1, which is how many years have you been in SBEAP? Then you'll kind of use the right-hand frame to scroll down and you'll be able to see question 2 and question 3. And as soon as we can see that most of the participants have answered, we'll show the results briefly and then we'll move on with our tour. Great, so we've got about 73% of you have answered. So once again, just use your mouse to answer these questions. And you'll scroll down on the right-hand frame of the poll to get to all 3 questions. All right, super. So I can see the results here, and it looks like we're 100% answered. Allison, would you share those results? Great. So folks can see who is on today. Many of you, 43% of you, have less than 1 year with the SBEAP, and that's great. This is really geared towards you, and we thank you for being on, and we want to recognize you. And please stay on after. If you have a minute, we are going to open up the audio so that people can ask questions. And so we're asking you to rank your familiarity with the website resources. You can see that there. And then we've asked if you're on a listserv, and it looks like about a third of you are not on a listserv. But in fact, most of you or all of you on today learned about this through SBEAP Maine, and so we add you to that listserv. Okay, thank you, Allison. And when you're done with the poll, if it's in front of your screen, you could just go up to the right-hand corner and exit out. We'll be doing some other polls in just a few minutes. But now what I'd like to do is just start with a very brief history of this website. And it is a product of funding from the EPA, specifically from the Asbestos and Small Business Ombudsperson's office at headquarters. And so we want to thank Paula Hogue and her group at headquarters for funding this website, as well as a full grant that helps to facilitate communication, the website, and helps with we call our annual training. And I'll be saying more about that in just a few minutes. But after being without a website for a few years, EPA provided a grant to the states, a competitive grant to the states in 2015 to develop this resource and increase communications. With the guidance of what we call the website subcommittee, which is made up about anywhere from 12 to 16 people from around the state, we developed this website, actually an earlier version of this website, and then we updated it again in 2021. Our goal is to make this the go-to place for communication and operations of various subcommittees. It should be a repository for historic documents, as well as for current and relevant tools or example documents that can be shared with state SBEAPs, or simply sometimes just download it. Through our work with the website resources and support of the states, we try to promote and increase SBEAP or 507 program communications, collaboration, and capacity. That's really our goal, and hopefully we're meeting that goal. Again, thanks to the website subcommittee and so many of you out there who often see something that needs to be changed or notify us of an update in a state contact. And we work on a continual basis to evaluate your feedback and to make updates so that our product can be as up to date as possible. All right, so now on with the tour. You can see these banners. Abby is in charge of rotating these banners, and we do it based on what time of year it is, what we might have going on. We just published the annual report, so you're going to see that come up in just a few minutes. But of course, all of these banners are clickable. So here's the newcomer resources. We'll go through, you click this and you'll go right to that particular page. There's a horizontal menu here, which I'm going to be going through this tour. But I want to draw your attention to this language Google Translator. And of course, it's in English now, but you can see the various languages that can be selected for translating this website. And many of the states have used this, and pretty successfully. I also just want to draw your attention to the contact us. We have a toll-free number, which many clients do call We may evaluate and help the client when they call the hotline, but oftentimes if it involves your state specific, we will connect them with you and make sure that client gets the information they need and gets connected to you. We also have an email, info@nationalsbeap.org. And so if you see something here today that you need more information on, or you have a listserv or a committee you want to get involved with, just shoot us an email through the website, or you can always email me directly, nlarson@ksu.edu. As we scroll down the home page, if you need to read some information about how did our programs get created, what is this Section 507 of the 1990 Clean Air Act amendments? All that information is a click away right here. And then we have added these fun icons that you can get to if you want for certain shortcuts. So please take a look at that at your leisure. If you've got a second screen up today, I might even recommend that you go to our website, nationalsbeap.org, and you kind of click around as we talk through this tour. Down here, you're going to see our connection to our Twitter account, which of course has changed in the last couple of months, as you've heard in the national news. And then you're going to see our YouTube account. Allison Crowther is in charge of our YouTube account. She has done a great job. We have nearly 120, maybe more, YouTube archive videos. So check it out. She's even put together channels and things to make it a little easier for you to navigate. So now what I'd like to do is just go through our horizontal menu a little bit. But I might pause for just a second here and make sure that Allison or Abby don't have either a question or something to share.
I was just going to say, if you're of a mind, we would love if you would subscribe to that YouTube channel. I am trying to get up to 100 subscribers because it at least used to be the case that we could get a custom URL then. And I would love to get to that. And also, just see what National SBEAP is up to. So that's all I wanted to put in there.
Thank you.
Same thing for me. If you guys are still on Twitter, please follow and interact with our posts and share them. We'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Great. Great. Thank you so much. And I can see some things in the chat, but I'm asking Allison to kind of monitor that. So if there's something that comes up, Allison, feel free to interrupt me.
Will do. So far, it's just about the waiting room. So
got it. All right. Okay, so coming over here to navigate this horizontal menu, I'll just point out a couple things on most of these. There's a couple of them that are very popular and are used a lot, and I'll spend a little bit more time on that. But otherwise I'll ask you to click around and take a look. But you can see on the small business tab, this is to attract small businesses. Most of our audience, quite honestly, are the SBEAP programs. That is the main purpose of our work, is to be a resource for SBEAP programs. But certainly there's a lot of great information on here that also serves small businesses. And so that I just want to point that out too. Many of these same resources that are focused on SBEAPs serve the small businesses. So this page is pretty basic landing page. It just goes through and gives some real basic information about our resources. But as you go over here under sustainability, we have industry sectors, we have case studies, and we have lists of trade associations. And all of our web pages are built in the same type of format, where you'll hit a landing page, and then what you're going to hit is similar to the horizontal drop down in the light blue box. These are internal links or sub pages within that main landing page, And then these are in the green is always going to be what we think are important and related external resources. So community navigators, some of you may not know what those are. Small business development centers, many of you either belong to one or know what a key partner they are in our programs, and so forth. With that, I want to spend a little bit of time on our state contacts page. This is the page that often in our Google Analytics is hit the most. This page, we hope, is very user-friendly. What it does is it allows you just to click on the state, and what our goal is to list 2 resources. What we'd like to do is have the SBEAP program, that technical arm, and then whoever is the SBO, the Small Business Ombudsperson program. That is our goal. This is broken down and color-coded really nicely, I think, because I don't know all the states and which region they belong to. But if you ever want a little cheat sheet, you'll find it right here. So Region 1, Region 2, and of course, for some of you newcomers, it's important to understand that EPA has 10 regions, and there is a regional office in each of our regions. You should be hooked into that. Most of our regions also have either annual, sometimes as much as monthly, phone calls or meetings. In Region 7, our Region 7 office is in Kansas City. I'm from Kansas, so ours is in Kansas City, kind of sits in the middle of all 4 states. And then we meet once a year in person, and then 2 to 3 times a year by conference call or Zoom. I know Region 4 is very active. Region 5 has monthly meetings. Region 6 is really getting reorganized after some new staff coming in and so forth. So take a look at that if you're ever looking for, oh, I heard Georgia had that problem, or Florida. I heard they have a lot of great resources, which by the way, they do. Then you might want to reach out to them, and this is how you do it. I would ask you just to take a second to click on your state if you haven't already. And if the information is not right, shoot us an email. We want to make sure we've got the information there. Minnesota, for example, has 5 or 6 or more people in their program, but we're still kind of asking for just 2 main primary contacts so that we can keep our website consistent and clean. I think that's all I want to say about contacts, but it is a really important page. I do want to make note of these are some of the internal resources here where you'll find dedicated pages and then external resources. Let's jump over to the SBEAP resources now. These resources, they say SBEAP, but they're SBEAP or SBO resources, and they are set up for more for our internal programs. So our national SBEAP YouTube page, we've got articles here, Ask SBEAP articles. These are articles that we submit for probably the last 4 or 5 years to the ASBO, EPA's newsletter, and we submit these articles varying different topics. And the idea is that you can open this document up, and let's say you need an article on something for your state newsletter. These articles are there for your taking, and you can take them and shape them to fit your program. You do not need to reinvent the wheel if this has got the content you want. And the content is generally pretty simple and straightforward with resources that it links to, because we know people do not read a lot of text. They want to get to the point and get to the answer, and then dig deeper if they feel like they need more information. So we design these articles with that in mind. Also, what you see here, which is in the midst of being updated. It hasn't been updated now for a couple of years, but we've got it ready to go. It just needs some quality assurance done to it before we start it up. But this is a searchable document that allows you to look at the topics that we've had common question and answers to. So a couple weeks ago, someone asked about air curtain incinerators. I knew we'd had that question before, went back, grabbed all the responses, and then I sent them out to the group that was discussing that particular topic. So that
Nancy, I'm
yeah.
sorry to interrupt. I should note that has been updated, that 21 should be 22 in the parentheses, and I'll fix that. But the document is updated to its current.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much. And so as we go through this, you can see there's some guidance documents there. Let's say you're wanting to submit an article to EPA's ASBO newsletter. And then, or let's say you're looking for some environmental justice resources, possibly you're looking for some grant resources. And we've got that information here for you as well. I want to take just a minute to tell you about our annual report. This is a 2022 annual report. And what we do with the annual report, if you haven't seen it, it is a 2-page report where we have consolidated information that we ask each of the state programs to submit each January through March for the previous either calendar or fiscal year. And so you'll learn more about that, but you can read about the history. You can also see the past annual reports. There was a gap for several years in annual reports, and we picked them up again in 2015. These can be used to promote your program. We send them to our regional administrators. You can use these to send to your funding agency or your state regulatory agency or lead, as well as some people use it for their legislative arms. And so please use this to promote our programs, but know that if you want to take this data and you want to make it into a Wisconsin specific, Kansas specific, we have a publisher template that you can use here too, and you can make it specific to your state. From there, I want to talk a little bit about metrics, because metrics, and I apologize, sometimes my server has a firewall and doesn't always show all the videos. But the video, there's 2 videos that you'll see here that are also on our YouTube site, and they are on metrics, archive metrics training that we have done. And the first one was done in 2019. It goes through some very specifics. How do you collect metrics? And it gives you 2 templates to use in your program. I highly recommend this. We have done this type of work because we are asking for metrics within your annual report. We have a handful of states who report them on a regular basis, and I know states have gotten much better about getting in and reporting on metrics. I am happy to work with anyone one-on-one to help you develop a metrics collection program for your state and your program. You can use it, that data, to evaluate how are we doing? How are we doing with customer service? Are we increasing compliance rates? Are people implementing the things that we recommend? We also have a metrics work group. Donovan Grimwood from Tennessee is running that work group. So if you've got something to contribute there, you can email through the website, let us know, and we'll get you hooked up so you can be part of that. We have a newcomer video that we have published in the last year, and here it is on our YouTube site, but not showing via my server right now. But this is a 7-minute video, and newcomers, if you have not watched this, please do. It orientates you to a little bit of the history of our program based on Section 507 of the Clean Air Act amendments of 1990. And it also talks about the structure of our programs, because we used to have kind of a 3-pronged stool. And now most of our programs are down to 1 or 2, mainly the SBEAP, that technical assistance arm. Okay, I'm going to pause there and see if my colleagues have any comments, questions, anything to add before I move on.
Nope, nothing from me.
Nothing here.
Okay, great. All righty. So next is our all-important environmental compliance landing page. This is probably the page that is packed with the most information. There is a lot of depth to the and subpages to this main landing page. And this is where, when you have some new information about regulation, or you have some questions about some common industries that we work in, we hope this works out to be a very good resource for you. Some of you out there are experts in engines and or construction industry and helping that industry, metal fab, dry cleaners, auto body, some of those common industries. And if you would be so kind as to review our content, if you see any problems with it, we would love to hear from you, or you see some resources that might be missing. We would really value your review. We have just gone through and updated several of these sectors, but it is a constant work in progress. Construction, dry cleaning, metal fab, engines, auto body, and painting and coating have just been updated. And we've got some updates coming for plating and polishing, as well as for boilers and heaters. But I'll just pop over here to one of our newer resources we started to develop about a year ago, and it's pretty well complete now. But you can see where we work to set this up very in a similar format, where we kind of introduce the industry sector, the SICs, the NAICS that go with it. And then we go through air quality. What are the main air quality aspects or impacts to the construction industry? We all know that lead-based paint is a major issue. And in most states, people who remediate lead-based paints in homes as a contractor have got to be certified and licensed. This talks about stormwater and some construction stormwater especially, and then RCRA, or waste management, other resources. And one thing that we have added to many of these industry sectors are some of these acronyms. So if you see these acronyms, you're not sure what they are, we've got kind of a cheat sheet. So that, I'm just going to give you that example of one featured sector right there. But what I'd like to do is then draw your attention over to this left-hand frame, because one of the things that Allison has worked very hard on is she has put together an air quality tools by state. And any updates that you have to this for your particular state, like you've developed a new PTE tool for engines, we would love to know about this so we can get it updated and listed. It is likely that if you have a question or you're working with engines, someone else is too, and they may need to develop a calculator. They could take your product and personalize it for their state without starting from scratch. That is the whole intent here. So here's what we've got. Many of you have a website that we just simply link to because you've got so many tools, but you can see nearly every state is represented here. Allison, is there anything you want to add to this discussion?
Just to say, we are in the process of updating this currently, so you might find a few broken links on there, but I think we'll have those gone within a couple days and replaced where possible. And just, yeah, if you have anything that you would like to share with us, we would love to feature your work on here, and we always want to have more calculators on here.
Definitely helps us in Kansas. So this is our go-to place when we've got a new tool to develop. And then from there, we put a question out on Maine. I've got to work on this. The other day, I put something out on underground storage tanks or above ground storage, something, and that we were working on. And before we get started on it, we're going to see if someone else has done it, because we can learn from them, get some new ideas before we start from scratch. Waste management. So we've got air quality, but we also, of course, try to cover waste management, water quality. We go into those featured sectors there. If there's a new sector you think needs to be represented, let us know. But these are the common ones that we have picked. One of the things that we've been working on in the last year, and again, we would welcome any contributions, is to this foreign language resource page. So what we do is we do cross-reference it in different places on our website, but we have put this page together where we're trying to aggregate these different resources, whether it's general compliance or sector specific. And if you have suggestions on how we can increase this, or resources we may not have here, or how we can do this in a better way, we would love to hear that from you. And then this section has really increased. We don't have them all listed here, but each year we try to feature different compliance calendars from different states, so that people can get a flavor for, many of us, most of us probably do dry cleaning compliance calendars. Well, one year we got a lot of great ideas from a different state on how to improve our calendars. And so that's the whole idea, continuous improvement process, or what we call CIP. And so if you can download some of these, steal some of these ideas, or utilize some of the resources that maybe are in a different language, that is why these are here. So you're going to see a variety of them here for dry cleaners, but we know many states do gasoline dispensing facilities. Florida has been doing printers and chrome electroplaters. And then I know Nevada and Kansas and maybe a few other states do hazardous waste compliance calendars, and underground storage tank calendars, aggregate facilities, hot mix, asphalt. This also gives you some ideas for new products that maybe you want to develop. Maybe you're seeing a need in the aggregate area, and you want to propose that to your regulatory agency, that you develop a compliance calendar to help that sector. This is here to give you ideas. Okay, so that's enough time on environmental compliance. Next, we have our various subcommittees. And one of the things that we do is we manage these listservs. We've got the main listserv with all of you are on, and some other people have asked to be on it. Some people from EPA, some folks from the states have asked to monitor Maine as well. And then for each of the subcommittees, we have a different listserv, because that listserv is the way that they mainly communicate about their meetings, about their topics, guest speakers, what's needed, etc. Environmental Justice Subcommittee is our newest subcommittee. I want to take just a second to show you the national SBEAP, because this is really where a lot of our work is done, and we appreciate so much the leadership of our NSC chair, Donovan Grimwood, and our vice chair, Chris Lynch. And then under each of these regions, if you don't know who your region representative is or your regional alternative is, that is where they are listed. And then most of our regions also have an EPA regional air quality small business liaison. In Region 7, we have a very active one. Some regions are missing them, but the person who should know about who your regional liaison is at EPA in the air quality division would mainly be your regional rep. So I'd invite you to take a look here, and where you see some vacancies, if you're in Region 2, you know, Ed would love to have some help. Basically, it's participating on a few meetings and making sure that you're communicating information to your region, helping things, you know, keep moving along, and you're communicating back to the NSC as well. All right, there's a lot of other resources that are listed here, including this is where we archive minutes and some webinars and things for each of these different subcommittees. And then finally, we'll just spend a little bit of time on news and events. This is where we add some significant news and events that you may have seen come across Maine already. But what's important to really focus on too, I guess I do want to point out our Twitter account. The most recent posts are listed here, and it's just a news feed that comes in. So Abby did this one, it looks like just about 4 hours ago. And it talks about our newest industry sector, construction. But what's really important, and another very popular page, is our annual training. Our 2023 annual training was held in person in Lake Tahoe. We had a little more than 60 people, which is good attendance, and we had a great agenda. This was done through your planning committee and through our leads from the Nevada team led by Chris Lynch. It was excellent. And what we've done here is where it was possible, we have linked different sessions that were completed. What I will tell you is that we are in the midst of planning our 2024 annual training. It's going to be in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And Crystal Warren and Donovan of Tennessee are kind of leading the way on that. They've got they will have a sub-award from Kansas via EPA. Thank you, EPA, very much. But they will get a sub-award to facilitate and host this conference in Tennessee in 2024. And the most recent information I have is we're looking at early to mid-March. But as soon as we've got some more detail on that, this will be your go-to page. We'll have registration here. We'll have the draft agenda. And then what we'll do with the 2023 is we'll put it into the past trainings archives. I also, at the about January, I want to draw your attention to the fact that we do give out awards. We give out awards for small businesses. You could see all the people who got awards last year, various different leadership awards here for our vendors. We recognize our state SBEAP programs, and we have a Karen Brown Environmental Leadership Award. So you can read more about that there. And this is really a very, very important and special aspect of our program. Okay, with that, unless Allison or Abby, you have something that I've missed, I'm going to ask you to launch the poll, the next poll, which will also be, it's a multiple questions, but it will be our one of our last polls. So I think it's in 2 sections. So you should be able to see that now. It says, now that you have learned more, which resources do you plan to use? So state contacts, very popular. Second question, now that you've attended the tour, we want you to re-rank your knowledge. And our hope is that we're going to see some learning here. We'll give just a minute more on the first question that Allison has asked here with the resources. Looks like only about 80% of you have answered. Great. All right, Allison, you can close that poll and briefly share it. Super. You can see what we've learned here. And then Allison, would you launch the next series of questions? All righty. You may have to X out of that other one if it's in front of your screen. And then you can start voting on this next poll. Looks like no one has voted on that yet. There we go. Okay, good.
And Nancy, it might take a little bit longer for answers to come in on this one, just since that last one does let people type out longer answers and they have to answer them all at once.
Good point. Thank you. So we've got, let's see, we've got 3 questions on here. Excellent. Great. Okay, we'll keep this open for about 30 more seconds. If for some reason we didn't get your answer in there, you can always provide that feedback through info@nationalsbeap.org. Okay, great. I think we can close the poll and then share the responses so people can see them. And I'll make just a couple of closing remarks. First of all, thank you so much, because your input and use of these resources, we want them to be, obviously, we want them to be useful to you. So any ideas, suggestions you have, can always email me, email through the website, and we try to be responsive, typically within about 3 to 5 days. Sometimes we're able to get to it within an hour, but we do definitely appreciate your input. I want to thank you for participating today, and I want to welcome you to stay on. And we'll allow you to unmute yourself in just a second. But I want you to know about 3 other trainings that we have planned just as a website subcommittee that are in the next 6 months. The first one is in November, and Colorado is going to be reporting on the results of their study that they did of the different SBO offices and SBO role. They were looking at this specifically for their state, but they're going to share their insights and information. EPA ASBO Paula Hogue is going to provide us with a training or webinar kind of on to increase our awareness about what the process is when people come to her. I expect to do that one maybe in December or so. And then we'll be doing tips for hosting sustainable meetings and events, just a very short webinar on that. Everything will be recorded, if assuming the presenter allows us to record them, and they will be hosted then both on our YouTube site and linked on our website. So with that, I would welcome people to stay on. One of the things that we had initially planned was to do kind of a website subcommittee meeting right after this. So if you're part of that subcommittee or want to be, you're welcome to stay on as well. So Allison, would you allow people to unmute themselves? All right, Eleanor, you're unmuted. Did you have a question or a comment?
So just actually a comment and shout out, because I'm so appreciative, Nancy, when the questions about the air curtain came up, that you went to the archive and then pulled that up. It just so happened I was working with a small business on an air quality permit for an air curtain that they were trying to get permits on. And so that was super helpful. I took those and then sent them to my air quality folks so that they had a little bit of background, because we had never in the state of Utah dealt with the air curtain before, but we were getting a push from EPA that it was going to for sure need a Title V permit. Anyway, way more information than you need, but that was just super helpful. So thanks for sharing all that with us.
My pleasure. And I'm glad it was helpful. That's exactly what this is there for. And then, although sometimes I'm not able to, I try to remember what some of the big topics were, what we've got in our question and answer, grab those resources and connect you to them. I do look at all the email. There is a lot of email traffic that Abby, Allison, and myself manage, but we do try to address them if we can as kind of a first line, or we might bring them to the attention of someone we know who has dealt with it before and ask them to provide some guidance. So I know we've got some newcomers on. If you would like to unmute yourself, I think we can do that, Allison. Let's see. Yeah, we've allowed you to unmute yourself. And so I just sent you all a message to kind of give you a trigger on how to unmute. I do see some new names here because what we try to do when we have someone new is we send them a few resources and a welcome email. And so if you're a new person, you have questions, we'd love to hear from you, because someone else probably has the same question. All righty. Let's see, and nothing in the chat that we need to address? Okay. Looks like that's been all taken care of. Thank you all so much for attending. If you're on the website subcommittee and you have a few minutes to stay on, please do. Otherwise, thank you again. And this ends our training today and our recording.